Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, let's get this all set up. We are back. I got to message the wife. The wife. All right. We are back and better than ever. Hi there. It looks like we got some people in here. Hope you guys are doing well. Hello, how's it go? How's it going, Ducky? Tuesday, and I'm already ready for the weekend. Yeah, I was gonna say I completely understand. I'm self-employed now though, so like there's two benefits to that, right? One, I kind of set my own schedule, but two, I don't really get a weekend. Like I'm always working in some form or another, and I'm not complaining because I would much rather work for myself, travel, do all the stuff I'm doing. But it's like, yeah, I just that's one thing I'm like, I miss being able to just clock out and be like, I'm done, which I could still do, but I gotta do my speaking events and content creation, and unfortunately, the algorithms on social media will not be in your favor if you don't post regularly and like keep up with content. So that's a little exhausting. But once again, I know that I used to work insanely difficult jobs, so I am not by any means complaining uh, at all. I used to work in like production, manufacturing, construction. I've done all those like odds and ends jobs. Um, so once again, not complaining, but it is something that I'm like, I find interesting now that I do this full time. Been following for a while. First live I've caught. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. Can I ask a question? Absolutely, yeah. I'm just hanging out. I'm gonna, in a little bit here, once I organize all these, I might do a few Reddit stories. I want to read a couple of these and see what people think, if I should include them in my next YouTube video. But yeah, go ahead and ask any questions. I'm just kind of hanging out right now while I organize all this. Hello, what's up? Hello, hello. Thanks for coming in. We got 20 people in here. That's actually, you know what's crazy is I literally have 1/10 of the followers on TikTok as I do here on YouTube. And recently my views and lives have been better than on my TikTok. Here on YouTube, they've been better. TikTok just doesn't love me anymore. Would love to know more about your tattoos. Yeah, I mean, I have a ton. So I just got this one on my birthday. It's a microphone, just for all my speaking stuff. These are all older tattoos. I have Overcome on my fingers. I have a Mountain Range that's a really old one. I just got this like a few days ago. I want to say like less than a week. So this is really new. Turned out so cool. Um, I have this one. I have a chest tattoo. I have all sorts. All sorts, a lot of different stories. Some of them I just like the design. Some of them are, some of them have meaning and stories behind them. But my son has schizoaffective. I'm 47. Am I enabling him by the things I do, like try and force meds? Um, so not, I wouldn't say that's enabling, right? If you're trying to get him to take meds and stuff like that, I would say that's kind of the opposite, actually. Like, you're trying, enabling would be like, oh yeah, he's not on meds and I'm fine with that, and I don't, like, you just let it be. I think that would be a little more enabling. Whereas, like, he's 47, he is an adult, so he needs to be able to accept treatment himself. Unfortunately, it's not gonna take. This is my problem with, like, the idea of forced treatment. It only works for so long, because if the person ever becomes independent enough to live by themselves, or take care of themselves, or be in charge of their own medication, a lot of the times what I've seen, and this isn't, I have no statistic on this. This is just my experience as someone who works with a lot of other individuals with schizophrenia, is people who are forced into treatment don't end up continuing it themselves. Whereas, like me, my mom and my wife really tried hard to get me help, but they never forced me into treatment, never forced me on medication, and it sucked because for like 3 years I was in active psychosis, active addiction. I probably did need a lot of help that I wasn't getting. But once I came to them asking for help and I was able to get on medication, then I made the decision, like, I need to stay on this. So that's why I've been so med compliant over the years. And like, I realized that I needed the help. But it's tough. I hear you out. It's hard to watch a loved one go through an illness like schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. And I know it can feel like you're kind of powerless having to watch it happen. But the most success we're going to see is from people who are able to, accept care and be able to uh, be med compliant, and that comes with time. And still, I mean, you can still, like you said, you're trying to get them to stay on meds. You can still be there for them, let them know why you think it's beneficial, try to make sure they understand, like, what happens if they quit their meds. All of those things are really important conversations. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, they are an adult, and as a caregiver, you can only control so much. So just be there for them, let them know you're there for them, and just remind them why it's important. And I think that will, like, that's what helped me, was my mom and my wife. Although I never got put into forced treatment, they were always there, like, hey, we're here, we're worried about you. If you need anything, let us know. And then when I did have a little bit of clarity, I finally reached out and asked for help, and they were able to get me, access to resources, doctors, stuff like that. Hopefully that helps. I know that's kind of a long-winded answer. If you haven't seen it yet, Carol, there is a video on my page that I did with Gabe Howard. He's a bipolar advocate. You can check that out. We did a video, just me and him, about caregiving. And so from the perspective of two patients, we talked a little bit about what people did in our lives that helped us out and made sure that we got the care we needed. Um, yeah, so maybe check that out if you have the time and if you're interested. Sorry, trying to say hi but falling asleep. Oh no, Allison's a goner. She's a goner. Would love to go into business myself, for myself someday. My passions are card making and fitness. Cards like playing cards or like holiday birthday cards. I don't know why I find that interesting. Sorry, I just I was trying to figure out what you meant by that. I became a 5K runner last summer. Oh, nice. I've done 5 events so far. Nice. That's awesome. Greeting cards. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Well, just keep pursuing it. It takes time. Uh, I've had people ask me like, oh, like, so you do content, like how long have you been doing that? How long did it take before you started, being able to do it full time? And so I started making content in 2018, and I just started doing this full time last year. So it took 2018 to 2024. And even that, I got lucky. There was a lot of luck involved, a lot of help from people. So yeah, keep it up, keep pursuing it. Um, 4 5Ks. Oh yeah, that's still awesome though. Yeah, I used to love running. I can't run anymore. I am too out of shape for that. But props to you. Props to anyone who can do long distance running. I used to be in cross country and track growing up, and I used to love it back then. But it is not, cardio is not my thing anymore. So props to you. I only have one card making video so far. Yeah, so keep going on it. I mean, um, honestly, yeah, the more you post, the more chances that one can pop off. That's really all it takes too. Is like if you can get one to take off, then the rest becomes, fairly easy. Not easy, but it becomes easier because you continue to grow, you continue to reach people, um, and you still got to put work in. But it does, like, now. It's not as big of a deal if I'm not able to post every single day, stuff like that. Um, but yeah. Oh, no way. Allison, are you still in the chat? Unless Allison fell asleep already. Allison must have fell asleep. I am autistic and tend to be shy about my accomplishments as far as posting videos. Yeah, I hear you. My wife, who I think fell asleep, she was in the chat. She's also on the autism spectrum. That's something I know she struggled with. Is just like, I think part of it is like a social aspect, right? People with autism struggle socially a little bit, and I know with Allison, what I've noticed is part of the reason she doesn't like to celebrate her successes or accomplishments or anything like that is because celebrating those things is more of a social act. Like, you're sharing it with people, and I think that can be, uh, stressful, a little nerve wracking. So, um, yeah, I completely I hear you, and I hope that you take some time to do some of that, because that's huge. It's so important to make sure because you are, if you're succeeding in things and you're proud of yourself, you should celebrate that. I love you, Kody. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Alexa, turn on podcast studio lights. I've been waiting for you to go live. You're one of my favorite people. Oh, thank you so much. I need to do more YouTube lives. I always do TikTok. It's a force of habit because I started on TikTok, but honestly, like I don't really get that many viewers on my TikTok lives anymore. I get some, so I still want to touch base on there once in a while, but honestly, I should just focus more of my time on here. And I think that's what I'm going to start doing. Um, start doing more lives on here. But yeah, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. You inspire. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, make sure I got the right ones pulled up. I got rid of TikTok. It was too traumatic, but that's how I found you. Yeah, I could see that. A lot of people kind of, I think that's part of the reason, like, obviously, this isn't all of the reason that, like, my videos don't reach people anymore, but I think that's definitely a part of it because, you know, a lot of people, I think, just kind of gave up on TikTok, especially like a lot of my friends were content creators. And so I think a lot of content creators kind of gave up because they're like, didn't feel supported by TikTok. They didn't feel like they could reach anyone there when they had issues or they had concerns. So I think a lot of content creators specifically kind of gave up on it. But great YouTuber and TikToker. Thank you so much. Your sense of humor gets me through rather tough days, I must say. Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate that. I love some people are really upset that I choose to like use humor as a coping mechanism, but like honestly, it saves me a lot of the time. Most content creators don't really talk about real stuff like you. Yeah, that's it's kind of a bummer. I wish more content creators took the time to like talk about difficult topics and things like that. But it is tough. Like I will say, as someone whose entire job is to create content about mental health and mental illness and like really traumatic things, it takes a toll on you. I definitely see the appeal of like just doing like funny content or like just doing skits and stuff like that. I definitely see the appeal, but yeah, it's I think it's really good for me to find like an in between, like still do my educational content, my schizophrenia advocacy content, but then also tie in like my humor, my stand up comedy, all that. Are you still pursuing stand up comedy? Yeah, I've been busy the last couple months. My book came out at the beginning of the year in January. So recently, I've been doing a lot of book signings and I've also been doing a lot of speaking events. Summer and fall are always my busiest time. So I'm like really, I'm just getting through my busy season. In October, I was traveling like out of 31 days, I think I've been home like 6 days total. Like I'm traveling all this month. So I'm finally getting to be home a little bit, and then I'm gonna try to do more comedy, stand up, stuff like that. But that's why we love you. I'd rather watch someone I can relate to or understand rather than putting a mask on for social content. Yeah, I see that a lot in content creators too, and it bums me out. Are you going to do a book signing in New Hampshire by chance? I don't have anything currently set up, um, but I'm always booking new events and trying to get to places I haven't been. So just keep an eye on my Instagram, and I'll start posting updates on here too. I keep forgetting when I post on Instagram. I used to automatically come over and also post on my YouTube like posts. I always forget that I can do that. Is it overwhelming to? Oh, my mom suffers with this. Any advice on talking to her about it? Just be open and honest. Let her know what your concerns are. Let her know or ask her how you can help. It really depends on where she's at in the recovery process, if she's medicated, all of that. So just have a conversation. Figure out what she needs and how, because it could be something as simple as like, hey, I just need reminders to take my medication, or I need help organizing my medication, or remembering to go to my therapy appointment, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just easiest to ask the person. Is it overwhelming to be so popular? I mean, I'm not like that popular. I'm just because I will say like I get recognized in public and some stuff like that. Like once in a while, it's not anything crazy. And so like because I'm popular online, like I can pretty much just turn it off. If I'm like overwhelmed and I'm like frustrated, I'll just, I'll take some time away. I'll stop posting, I'll stop engaging, stop reading comments. And then when I'm doing better, I'll re engage. So it's not anything crazy, honestly. That's awesome, man. I love your videos. They help me when I'm having an episode. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in, too. Please post more here for people who don't use social media like that, but always, yeah, and being honest, YouTube is my main focus moving forward, because like the legitimacy is like if you want to be a content creator, other content platforms disappear, right? Like I knew when I started posting on TikTok that TikTok wasn't going to last forever. I knew that before it was ever threatened to get banned or anything like that. Like social media platforms like that come and go. YouTube is kind of just here. So like longevity wise, this is where I'm really trying to grow and build a platform. What do you see or hear when you have hallucinations, if you don't mind me asking? So it depends, and it has changed over time. And I also want to preface that, like, everyone with schizophrenia experiences different things, even when it comes to auditory and visual hallucinations. For me, most of what I experience when it comes to auditory hallucinations, most of what I experience is voices. I do hear like some sounds. That'll be things like I always use the example of like dogs barking or footsteps, or when I was like really paranoid, I used to hear like cars going off around me, or like helicopters, stuff like that. So like just general noises, and then also for me, anywhere from like a single voice to multiple voices, and like I said, it depends on how I am. If I'm like really struggling, when I was struggling with addiction, it was a lot worse, and I would have a lot more hallucinations. When it comes to visual hallucinations, those have changed over time. So back when I first fell into psychosis, I was also actively using drugs, and then because of that, my hallucinations were a lot more intense, a lot more scary, and like the things I would see weren't just like normal people. It was like more frightening things, like faceless people, things that were it's hard to describe. It was like darker. That's all I can really say about it, without getting like too much into it. Now that I'm medicated and I only have breakthrough symptoms a few times a month, most of the time what I have for visual hallucinations is just like quote unquote regular people. It's not really people that I know. It's not people I recognize. It's just people that like I would see in my everyday life. They don't really stand out in any specific ways, and it can be kind of hard to tell a hallucination from anyone else in my life. Do you hear auditory hallucinations for now? So yes, I still do experience auditory and visual hallucinations, but I now have what are called breakthrough symptoms. So breakthrough symptoms mean even with medication and treatment, I still experience these symptoms occasionally. And that's the key word there. Like I used to, when I was unmedicated and I was struggling with addiction, I used to have auditory and visual hallucinations pretty much constantly. Like if I was awake, I was having symptoms. Once I got medicated and I started doing treatment, I was having less and less symptoms. Within the first year, I was having symptoms a few times a week. Within 3 to 5 years, it became like a few times a month, and now I'm pretty consistently like sometimes I'll only have symptoms twice a month. And so it's definitely gotten better as I've gotten on medication that works better for me, and I've found different coping mechanisms, different ways to deal with stress, and it's different for everyone too. Do you have a private message board? I have something I need to talk about. I don't have anything specifically on here. My Instagram DMs are open, but I'll be honest, I get dozens of messages, so it can be kind of hard to reach me. My link in my bio also has my email if you want to send me an email. That also, I can't guarantee I'll get back to you, but it's most likely I'll see your message either through an email or through an Instagram DM. And I try to respond to as many as possible, but I do get dozens, if not sometimes, some days, especially if I have a video going viral, I get hundreds of messages in a day. So I do my best, but I can't keep up with all of them. So feel free to message me, but your best bet would be either email or Instagram. Oh, sorry, I'm missing some questions here. Can auditory hallucinations be anything besides words being spoken? Yeah, some people experience like noises or sounds that like you would hear. So I gave the example of like dogs barking or animal noises or knocking on the door or walking, like footsteps, stuff like that. But that's not something I deal with as much, so it's a little bit hard for me to say. But uh, but yeah, there are different things that people yeah, there are different things that people experience with their auditory hallucinations as well. Honestly, how bad the neck tattoo hurt? Not too bad, only because like first of all, it did hurt, but it was such a small, quick tattoo. Like I think this was like under 20, 30 minutes. We got this done. So like it would have hurt a lot more had it been like longer, more shading stuff. But it was so quick that like it really wasn't too bad. Honestly, the worst part, it was just uncomfortable because I had to like lay down with my head like hanging off the tattoo table so that I could like my neck would be like more open. So yeah, that was uncomfortable to say the least. I don't think you realize how many people you help. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's I'm always hoping that someone's benefiting from the content or that someone, you know, is being able to use it in their own journey, but I never really get to know. I mean, the best thing for me is I do have a lot of people reach out and let me know on social media how much like my stories helped them, and that really keeps me going. Is just being able to read those comments and DMs from people who have like shared how they've been able to either get a diagnosis or learn new coping mechanisms, stuff like that. So thank you for saying that. Since I went on an LAI last year, it has helped me a lot. Yeah, I always say like medication is an individual journey, and everyone needs to work with their specific care team or their doctor to figure out what medication works well for them. That being said, I am also on a long acting injection and I love it. I really like, I appreciate the convenience of it. I like not having to think about daily oral medication anymore. So, like, I can't say enough for it. Once again, it's going to be different for everyone, but I do like I am a big advocate for it myself. How are you today? I'm doing great. I'm actually I am grabbing some. My little sister's coming over and we're doing a YouTube video together. She has never been like in any of my content or anything like that. But yeah, she's coming over and we're gonna do a YouTube video together. So I'm really excited about it. I have a dark sense of humor, but I kind of oh, but I feel kind of bad when I laugh at your jokes. No, don't feel bad. That's why I make them. It's for me to laugh and for you guys to laugh. You know. I just subscribed. Thank you so much, Sebastian. I appreciate it. Do you know? I can't pronounce that. That looks like is that Norwegian or Swedish or? Um, no, I do not know who that is, and I won't even attempt to pronounce it because I will butcher it. But no, I do not know who that is. All right, what else was I doing here? I'm so distracted today. It's horrible. A lot of people don't know this. In addition to a schizophrenia diagnosis, I do have an ADHD diagnosis. I don't talk about it a lot. It was something that I got later in life, actually after my schizophrenia diagnosis. And it's something that I'm like, it's very new. So I was diagnosed with schizophrenia like 10 years ago. My ADHD diagnosis, I believe, is still under a year, maybe just over a year now. So I'm still learning how to kind of deal with that and function with that. And um, it's been really nice being able to like learn more about it and figure out how to like learn to focus better and finding ways to like make to-do lists and schedules. And I already struggle so much with memory because of my schizophrenia. So like between that and my ADHD, my memory is pretty horrible. So I'm eventually going to talk more about that. It's so new to me right now. I was thinking about how I'm fighting my ADHD right now because my brain wants to scroll, but my heart doesn't. Yeah, it's a constant battle, honestly. It's like all the time. I feel like I'm kind of battling my brain. What hallucination is worse for you? Um, um, I mean, so I don't have a lot of reoccurring hallucinations. If you're talking about what type is worse, I struggle, like, I deal with auditory hallucinations more. I think that visual hallucinations are always the toughest for me because for some reason, I still have a bit of delusion when I have visual hallucinations, and I'm not able to identify those symptoms as quick. So sometimes I'm like having visual hallucinations, talking to someone who isn't there, and it takes either someone letting me know or me using my coping mechanisms to identify that I'm struggling. So um, yeah, it can be a challenge. Do you still use the camera trick? Yeah, a lot actually. I've One of the nice things is I've been having less symptoms recently, but I still question a lot. You know, I don't think that'll ever go away. When you live with schizophrenia, you kind of always are questioning your surroundings. So, like, even though I've been having less symptoms, I find myself still using it the same amount. So, like, sometimes even multiple times a day, I'll use my phone to check to see if I'm having hallucinations. Um, it's been nice now that I'm having symptoms less because it's just like a reassurance. I'm like, oh, okay. So that way I know, and it helps me kind of reality check. Good evening. Have you ever used the voice recorder? I've done it on my phone, not like an actual voice recorder, but I've definitely recorded on my phone before. Are you an artist? I actually, funny thing, not a lot of people know this. I used to do a lot of art. I used to paint and do all sorts of things like that. I don't as much as an adult, mostly just because I'm busy. But in high school, I was actually voted most artistic my senior year. Da, da, da. Pretty sure I read somewhere that tinnitus can manifest into. Huh. I have not heard about that. I will definitely look into it more. You should make time for it. Yeah, I would love to do more like art and stuff. Yeah, I definitely think I would check it out and look into it again. I I think I would just start by going and buying some stuff, um, because like I don't have any stuff for that anymore. But I used to have like a ton of acrylic paint and like sketch pads and canvases. So if I was ever feeling kind of artistic, I would just like bust it out. I don't really have that stuff anymore. I have to go now, but I appreciate. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Take it easy. Thanks for coming in. I've been trying to get my cousin to use the voice recorder app for reality testing. She believes people are saying awful things to her. Yeah, it can be helpful for some people, but it also depends on where someone's at in their psychosis. Because like someone with first episode psychosis who's newly diagnosed, it might not be as effective for them if at all. So yeah, it is just like with medication and treatment. It is still very much like person to person. So definitely still have her try it if it seems like something that would be beneficial. But keep in mind that it won't work for everyone. It really depends on the person. Have you ever had delusions of having great power? Yeah, so I've talked about this a lot in my early content. When I was first diagnosed with schizophrenia, I didn't think I had schizophrenia. I thought that I had I thought I had a superpower where I could like read people's minds. So like for a long time, that's what I thought I was experiencing. And that's like a very, unfortunately, common delusion for people with schizophrenia, especially people who haven't been diagnosed and are in early recovery. May I use any of your links to email? Yeah, there should be a link in my bio that also has my email on it. Otherwise, you can go to my website and find it there. It's info at Kody Green, or that's my email. You can just go to kodygreen.com and it should be on there. It is on there. I don't know why I said it should be. It is on there. She's not in a place right now where phone technique might not be as useful. It doesn't mean it couldn't be useful or that it might not still help as a form of reality checking for someone, but it might be a little bit harder if they don't have an official diagnosis or they're not taking medication or anything like that. Did thinking people you could read people's mind ever cause negative symptoms? It's hard to say because early on, so when I was first diagnosed, or when I was first going through symptoms before I was diagnosed, there's a lot that it's like hard to remember a lot of that time because I was in psychosis. I was also just not doing well. My memory was bad and is still really bad. So it's like I don't remember all of the negative or cognitive symptoms I struggled with. I definitely had some. That's when I started to notice some of those symptoms come up. So that was when I first started dealing with like fatigue or like difficulty with speech, cognitive delays, stuff like that. Oh, have you watched any shows or movies lately? Right now, because I've been so busy with travel and everything, I'm rewatching shows, which is something I do all the time. Another thing I found is actually really common for people with mental illness because we know what to expect, and I think that's why I like it. Like it's comforting. I don't actually watch it. I just usually have shows on in the background. So right now I'm rewatching How I Met Your Mother. After this, I'm sure I'll rewatch Criminal Minds again. Like that's one of my go-to shows to watch and rewatch. Um, some other Friends I've watched a couple of times. What are some other ones? Parks and Rec, The Office, like the typical put them on in the background type shows. How I Met Your Mother is like one of the first shows I started binge watching because it was still coming out while I was going through my psychotic break. So during the time that I was like going through my psychotic break, I was like actively watching it. And then when all of that was going on, it just became like a safety show for me. So over the years, I bet I've watched How I Met Your Mother over 50 times all the way through. And that is not an exaggeration. Like, I think I've actually watched it that many times. Did you know Joey had a spin-off show? Yeah, I heard about it. I never actually checked it out. I never tried to watch it or anything. Who's your favorite character from How I Met Your Mother? Um, Probably Marshall, uh, because like I can identify a little bit with this character. He's like the big Midwest dude, and so like he's from Minnesota. I live in Wisconsin, so I think there's a lot of just like I think they portrayed his character very well as like a Midwest guy, and I like he's just very positive, very like friendly to people. cares a lot about people. So I think overall Marshall probably is. I mean, I like, Barney's a hilarious character, but yeah, I think Marshall's probably my favorite. Your favorite's Lily. I like Lily too. I don't dislike any of the characters, honestly, from How I Met Your Mother. But Marshall is just the one I feel like I dig the most. I think I need to order another coffee or go get another coffee. It's right downstairs. I could easily go get another one. This one's getting cold. I wonder if they're going to start making shows with AI. I will not. If they start making shows with AI, I will not watch those shows because I don't want to. Even if they end up being amazing, I don't want to feed into that. Um, I think AI has amazing uses, and I think there are places it can be really beneficial. I refuse to support it in a replacement for art. So, like, I won't listen to AI music. I'm not going to watch an AI TV show, stuff like that. I try not to engage with AI content that involves creativity or art because that's taking away from people who are amazing storytellers or musicians or stuff like that. And I'd much rather engage with their content. When people go to sleep, go into a dream, we don't question the dream. It's almost like reality. So I guess the same applies to a person loses touch with reality. Yeah, I was for people who have never been through delusions or psychosis. That's kind of how I explain it. It's very much like you're in a dream. Like you don't think to question things like that. Like it's just you're just in it, and like it's not until you wake up that you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense, or oh that yeah, that's weird. You're a creator who helped me open up about mine to my friends. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that. I hope they were all cool about it. Sometimes opening up to friends and family can't always be good. Sometimes people suck about it, but hopefully your friends and family were supportive. But I love hearing that. Thank you so much. I also had an issue with speaking to non-existent customers at work. I've done that before. There's actually story time. I did a schizophrenic story time about that. I used to work in sales, and I had an issue where I like greeted a customer who wasn't there, and that's how my coworkers knew that I was struggling that day because I was like, hey, is anyone gonna talk to this customer? And they were all looking for a customer that wasn't there. So art that is made with the human mind is priceless. Yes, exactly. I'm dealing with psychosis daily while doing yard work. He's thinking I'm hearing neighbors comment on all I do. Yeah, if that's something you're experiencing, I would highly recommend like letting your either your personal care team know or your clinical care team. Everywhere I go, I hear comments about me. Yeah, I mean, and that keep in mind like hallucinations or intrusive thoughts, things like that. None of those things are exclusive to schizophrenia. It could be a wide variety of illnesses or conditions. So If you're having those symptoms, I just recommend like either reaching out to a doctor or a psychiatrist or someone who can, give you more insight into what you might be experiencing. When's the last time you went on vacation? So I travel multiple times a week, but vacation I don't do a lot of. Me and my wife did do like a day vacation. This week when I got home from my last trip, we went to House on the Rock, which is like a couple-hour drive. We did that. It was like just when the leaves were changing color, so we did a nice fall drive up to the rocks, stuff like that. It was very nice. So I try to do stuff like that, but it's hard with how much I travel to actually get to do some of that. There's a long wait to see a psychiatrist. I hope it doesn't damage my brain to wait. Yeah, it can be, um, it can definitely affect you a little bit cognitively. So uh, another option is if you have a job, you can always reach out to the EAP, which is an employee assistance program. Most employers have them now. And then, or if you have a parent or spouse who has who has a job that might be able to let you use their EAP, that's an option to at least get talking to a counselor or therapist who might be able to get you a quicker referral to a psychiatrist. That's an option. And then you can also look into local nonprofits because they might have ways to get you into someone quicker. So if you have like a local NAMI or Mental Health America or anything like that, I would recommend reaching out to them as well. Does your LAI wear off early? I used to have that issue. I've we worked on that. Me and my psychiatrist and my insurance worked on it so that I could get it a little earlier. So depending on your insurance and the provider and stuff like that, sometimes they can move it up a few days, or like depending on how early you're starting to experience symptoms, they can adjust it a little bit. Does your LA? Oh, I already read that. We should have more centers that help homeless people with mental health disorders. Yeah, a lot of homeless people struggle with schizophrenia. It's unfortunately a really common issue in the schizophrenia community, and there's not a lot of good resources. There's a lot of limitations for people to get access to care. So, unfortunately, a really common issue that people are dealing with right now. And I don't have a good answer because the answer is we need better healthcare, we need better mental health care, we need more funding. And we just don't have any of those things right now. What's up, big dog? Not much. I'm waiting for my little sister to get here. Me and her are going to record a YouTube video. We're going to react to some mental health Reddit stories. So I found some Reddit stories that are on Am I the Asshole or Today I Fucked Up. And like they're specifically mental health and addiction, or mental health and schizophrenia related. So we're going to react to those. My little sister and I obviously have the same mom. She lives with schizoaffective disorder. So me and my little sister always joke because I got schizophrenia. My little sister ended up getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So we ended up kind of like splitting my mom's diagnosis. And so we're going to react to some like mental health stories for a YouTube video that I'm working on. Canadian free healthcare. Oh, my family doctor said maybe a 1 to 2 year wait, which is just funny. I contact psychiatrists on my own. I have no job. Yeah, that seems like a long time. Hopefully, you can find someone a little bit sooner than that, because that is a long time to wait. Your mom also has it? Yes, so my mom also has schizophrenia diagnosis. Schizophrenia is a genetic illness. So like if a parent has it, it's not like guaranteed that a child will develop it, but it does increase the child's chances of developing schizophrenia. Do you ever struggle with spiraling memories of delusions from hospitalizations? If so, how do you stop the spiral? Yes, it's tough for me. What I try to remember is that a lot of my memories are not trustworthy, if that makes sense. Like, I think part of the reason I'm able to stop some of the spiral is if I'm having really like traumatic thoughts or experiences, I try to remember that some of what I experienced didn't really happen. Now, that being said, like as I've gotten better and I've gotten healthier, I've been able to separate like, oh, this that happened was definitely like an episode or a delusion. Well, this might have been real. But I try to remember that like my brain isn't necessarily trustworthy with those memories, and I think that helps me a little bit. I don't know if that'll help you, but like that's one of the things I try to remember. Also, I've dealt with a lot of my trauma through different types of therapy. So like I did EMDR therapy, which is like a trauma. It's like a trauma therapy that people can do to help them cope with things they've been through in the past, and that helped me a ton. So if you are able to get in and do something like that, I highly recommend it. Otherwise, even just like general counseling and therapy can be really beneficial for dealing with stuff like that. I know that one comedian, Suko's mom has schizophrenia. Oh, I am not aware of them. I'll have to look them up. Oh, I've seen them before. I did not know that their parent had schizophrenia. Hmm. Yeah, Gray's mom also suffered from schizophrenia. Crazy. This is helpful. I've learned basic ways to prevent them, but I've noticed if I'm in a certain mindset, they're harder to stop. Yeah, they can be, yeah, it can be really tough. They are funny. Yeah, I'll have to check them out. I am not, I've seen them. I don't know if I've ever actually watched much of their content, but I should definitely check it out. Oh, did you hear about a hurricane? I think up in Alaska. I did not. I didn't know. I didn't know that was going on at all. I heard there was a hurricane approaching Jamaica. Oh yeah, one day ago. Oh wow. Oh, a typhoon. Oh wow. Or was it a? Oh, it was a typhoon. That's what it was. I think the I think the hardest part is how real everything felt. Yeah, that is kind of the crazy part is trying to like sort through like what happened, what didn't happen, and it's hard when you can't trust like how you feel about things. I just got denied disability for the first time. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, it is. It is really common. My mom is on disability for. She's been on disability since I was in high school. She's been denied a couple of times. She's had to get like disability lawyers to help her with the process, and they usually, I think they usually work pro bono. Um, so yeah, it's a very long and stressful process. Why did you get denied? Yeah, that's what I was wondering too, if it's something related to everything going on, because there was some cuts in that area too, so they're probably going to have to deny more people, unfortunately. Okay, you do have a lawyer. Okay, yeah. Hopefully they can dig a little bit deeper and figure out why that happened. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully you win your case. I that it sucks when you're not able to, especially when I hate when I hear that like people have been approved, they're on it, and then all of the sudden the government decides like, oh, you're not disabled anymore. It's like, well, that's not really how that works. So best of luck to you. What kind of plant is on your neck? It's that's a good question. I don't know. I just thought it looked cool. Once you have enough tattoos, I realize that you just start getting them because they look cool. Like some of my tattoos still have a lot of meaning. Some of my like original tattoos have a lot of meaning to them. I did just get this microphone. This is one of my most recent. I got this about a week, 2 weeks ago. And then my most recent, I got this last week, like literally 4 or 5 days ago. And this one I just got because it looked cool. So like this one has some meaning. This one I was just like, that looks super dope. So I usually get tattoos because they look cool also. That's the way to go, honestly. I wear noise canceling headphones. So if I do hear it, I know it's not possible for me to. Yeah, that's a good way to try to reality check, is to use headphones and stuff like that as a way to kind of like make your brain figure out like between like what is going on and what isn't. Cut. Okay. Okay. Copy. I just get tattoos usually because they look cool. Also, yeah, I already read that comment, didn't I? I was like, oh, did I miss a comment? I got in the zone. And I'm like, oh, I probably should also be checking my comments. Copy. Command B. All right. What? They're bringing back Scrubs? That's crazy. I just found out they're bringing back Scrubs. Do you remember a YouTuber called? I do not. I'm not familiar. Is it like an OG, like older YouTuber or what? Hey, what's up? Thanks for coming in. I want to get a sleeve done, but I can't figure out what I want. Yeah, I don't have a sleeve. I've just started getting like I just started getting pieces, and eventually, like, this arm is gonna be a sleeve, but I'm just getting like piece by piece because I also like I couldn't decide on a full sleeve. Eventually, maybe I'll do one of my legs as like a full sleeve. Uh, but like, yeah, I've especially early on when you're just starting to get tattoos, you know, because you want everything to be like meaningful and important. And now that I've gotten enough tattoos, I'm like, honestly, I just want it to look cool. I still get meaningful tattoos, but a lot of what I get now is just like I like the look of certain tattoos and the aesthetic of it. Um, I do want a dancing skeleton. I know that much. That would be sweet, actually. That'd be really cool. Um, Disability is a trap. Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. I think that's why I hate when I see people being like, oh, people abuse disability. I'm like, I've had to survive on disability before. You don't make enough to, you make enough to barely survive. And it's horrible. And like, I was fortunate enough to be able to go back to work and like, I lost a lot of jobs because I live with a severe mental illness and like that happens. But I feel bad because there are people out there who can't work. Like they are not in a place where they could mentally or physically work. And those people suffer because people think that the system is just like full of corruption and full of like misuse when it's like there are so many people that need disability and they're getting barely enough to survive. So it's unfortunate. I was there for years. I absolutely could not work. It's just cruel either way. That's how I felt too. So like while I needed assistance, I was like all I wanted was to get well enough that I could work and like make money again because it's miserable trying to survive on what you get through disability and it's definitely not a glamorous life. Like some people act like it's they're like, "Oh, it must be nice to not have to work." I'm like, "You have no idea how crappy it is one to like live with a disability or mental illness or something that keeps you from working, but two like to barely have enough to survive or get by. It sucks." In my red state my payment was $700 a month. That's yeah, 700. Like I don't know what they expect for like how are you supposed to pay for housing, how are you supposed to. And what also, another thing I don't like is that if you get a job or make too much, they take disability away from you, which prevents people from like going out and trying to work part time or trying to get back into the workplace. Uh, it's so frustrating. I remember that like in between where I was like, oh, do I? I'm like, do I keep working or should I do this or that or whatever? And it's like, it's so hard to figure out like what would work best because you're like, oh, I'll get back to work and I'll start working it. But then if you lose your job, it can take a long time to apply and get approved for disability again. So it's like so frustrating. was so scared I'd lose my disability. I was afraid to start working, but I needed to gradually get my ability to work back. But now I'm doing great. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear you're doing great. But that's the frustrating thing is like people are trying to get back to work. Like no one wants to like be on disability. No one wants to have to live like that. So it's like so frustrating to see. I will always be fascinated by your story about the time you hallucinated by speaking and seeing the college student library. That must have been super visited and clean. Yeah, that was the story that like blew up my account. That was my first ever schizophrenic story time. Um, yeah, that was like the first story I vividly remembered and was able to tell. And yeah, it was yeah. And my symptoms have changed a lot since then too. So like what I experience is a lot different now. What was I about to? Oh yeah. Excuse me. What's on my schedule for tomorrow? Hi, Kody. How long after taking medication did you see a difference in delusions? Um, so like I still had some delusional thoughts when I started medication, but within like 3 to 6 months, my full blown like delusional thinking was very minimal. Now it would still pop up, right? Like early on, I would still have like some delusional like thoughts or like some like more it was like right in the line between paranoid and delusional. So it's hard to say exactly when, but within the first like year I basically stopped having full-blown delusions. 1 second guys, I'll be right back. So I was getting ready to like walk I didn't realize this door was open.
Yeah, proper folks was open.
Oh yeah. I suppose it's only 6:40. I'm usually here so much later. I'm just like so used to the doors all being closed and locked.
Ow.
No numbing cream. Fucking kill me.
Holy. The breeze.
Yeah, they haven't gotten all the heating stuff back on yet.
What does that have to do with Febreze?
Oh, I thought you said it's freezing.
No.
Oh. All right, guys. I'm going to head out. Take it easy. Everyone have a good one. Bye.
What? I don't get to say hi?
Oh, you can say hi if you want. It's just YouTube. There's only like 12 people on here right now. So, this is my little sister.
TikTok lives.
It was. We switched over to YouTube. This is my little sister. We're going to record a video that I'm super pumped about. So
Crazy that you just left them up here. And
I used to fall asleep on lives. So yeah. All right. Take it easy, guys. Everyone have a good one. Bye.